Welcome back to Room 1-on-1 with the Homeboys. We're back on the road this weekend, our second visit to Edinburgh in a week, with a few more of the troops being welcome this time. So as always, I am delighted to catch up with my old friend Mark Strachan to help me get a rundown on the cabbage and ribs. Marky boy, how are you, pal?
I'm good, very good. Bit hurting after the weekend, but I'm good.
Right, well, we can talk about that. We'll talk about that in a second. Right, before we get cracked into the business side of stuff, tell us a wee bit about your adventures, Marky boy. I'm hearing you've been living a life of luxury. You've been travelling around the world.
Something like that. Something like that, but not really. Number one, my boys have grown up. I'm a wee bit older than many of you, and so I can do what I want. Basically, my wife's brilliant. She does what she wants. I do what I want, and my best pal sits beside me at Easter Road. I knew him when he was in a pram. He was my next door neighbour, Hibs daft. We're struggling for a 50th for him to do something. We sat after a Hibs game on the car on the way home. Actually, would you fancy doing? We're talking about going to Italy and going around Italy in a train watching the football and that. And we'd always promised we'd go to Argentina, but we didn't think that would be the time. We did. So next morning I went into his bit. We trawled through the internet, found out the best way of getting there was Edinburgh, London, Buenos Aires with British Airways. Okay. About 5 weeks later we were there. Airbnb, talked to a couple of folk, had the time of our lives, but no, as people think, what Scottish guys go to a cheap country that's on its knees, what would you do? You just go get pissed, wouldn't you? We hardly done that. We actually we did football proper. I mean, we had a couple of drinks here and there, but I mean, I didn't like have more than about 4 pints any given day or anything. It was weird. Just, I know, because we kind of focused. We only had 5 or 6 days there. I speak Spanish.
So you wanted to maximise it. That's of course, mate. That's brilliant.
And my mate Ryan doesn't. He speaks a bit of Italian, and but we'd always wanted to do it. So we crammed it. We got to know a couple of Argentinian guys. That makes it much easier. As I said, I speak reasonably decent Spanish, and after one pint, that edge comes off it, and you get quite confident. So, very first day we went, we managed to even squeeze a game in the day we arrived, and went to see Independiente, which I would never have thought to go and see, but they were good.
Jason's team. Jason picked him. That's his Argentinian team.
That's right. I bought him one of the silly, Oasis hats.
Oh, the bucket hat, did you? Brilliant, man.
16 of them, and not one for me, because I wouldn't be seen debut or anything like that. But so I got Jason one of them. It wouldn't have been a team I would have picked. Just ignorance more than anything. Right. But because I'm not linked to any kind of really famous Argentinians. But went to that. Got tickets for an Independiente fan, met him. That's one of the times we did have a couple of pints. Bought him for thank you, and got his kid a Scotland strip and stuff like that. Next day was mental. In no particular order, we went to see, weirdly in these times, we went to see Atlanta the next day, who are the Jewish team.
Right, jeez.
Aye, I know, but at the time you would have thunk it all the time later, It was more culturally, there's a very interesting and slightly different thing today, and their club shop was superb as well.
You're talking about ignorance, mate. I've never heard of them.
So my mates like more into that type of thing than I am, but I'd taken a shine to it looking, it's like, wow, there's a club I'd like to go and see, because like they are basically the Polish and Russian Jewish people that moved there to escape the Nazis, set a team up, and they're still kind of funded and supported. So, things like that are good, aren't they?
Yeah, 100%.
Went to see them just at the stadium. I could tell you a story about how we sneaked in and got out, and I spoke to the guy in Spanish and swore at him in Spanish. He chased me up the road, but that's for another time. He moaned at us for going in and said, if it was your front door of your house, would you come walking in? And a stranger come walking in. I said, well, there's nobody there. And then he started shouting at me. So I told him that. Go and do something that's pretty difficult to physically do, and we scurried up the road. I'd bought a big pile of stuff at his shop as well. We also, on the same day, managed to go to Argentina's juniors, which folk hear of, but you never really think of, right? But that's the real Diego Maradona team.
Yes,
that's the real one.
Yeah.
That's who he started with. That's where his allegiances are. His house is round the corner for the ground. And that was fantastic, really good. They were so welcoming of us because they just couldn't believe too. You know, my only regret, I didn't take a hip scarf because there wasn't a Scottish scarf on the wall, not even you normally see a Celtic one if you see any. And there wasn't anything like that. And I regretted it because I didn't really have hip scarves that you take to give away. But I wish I had because they have a church to them inside the stadium. You walk in. Aye, and there's like a run by one of his pals, and they let him do it.
Amazing, man.
So I've even got a telephone holder now with Diego Maradona and Argentinos juniors.
Kind of seen it.
Aye, it was one. You know, you just buy shite when you're at things like that because you're kind of overawed. We then went to Ferro Carril Weste. This on the same day. Wow. They played green and white, so that was what drew me there. They were founded by Scotsmen, Englishmen, and Irishmen who were railway workers.
That's some sort of joke.
Well, I know. They weren't letting us in, which was freaky because everybody was quite welcoming and brilliant. And because the first thing you do, I'm Scottish, not English. And
right, of course, yeah.
And later, I'll tell you a story later on with an English guy wears. But so, and they wouldn't let us in. And then I had a brainwave. I zipped my tracky top open and I had a Choose Hibs, Choose Life, Irvine Welsh, green and white T-shirt on. And as soon as the guy seen it, it's not like other countries. They know who Hibs are. It's quite nice because they're football mad. They're like us. So the guy right away was brilliant. He told us, I can't let you in because this is a kids' gate. There's loads of kids' games going on. But if you go around the back and tell my pap, so we went round the back, told his pal, and we went and we were to give free rein to watch the training games, to watch the kids playing football. There was a barbecue thing on for the kids, and then we went in the ground, and it turns out they've got the best basketball team in Argentina, and there was a game on, and we had a wee peek at that as well. I could have knocked a trophy. They just let you do what you wanted. And I never even thought on from me. And then after that, we went back to say we'll get bite to eat. I think the Champions League final was on at the time because of the time difference. So we half watched a bit of that, would you believe, at night, just to cap it. We went to a Boca Juniors game. So we went to Boca Lannis at night, and it was shite. Didn't enjoy it at all. Aye.
Why?
English tourist football. You know, that's stuff that goes on in England. And I think there's a whole section at Celtic Park have it as well that sit beside us. You know, the guys from Ireland that come over for the day. It was a bit like that. It didn't feel like the rest of the, you know. You didn't
Do you think it's because you'd done the other things and the experience of the name was kind of up there? Because there was a book I read years ago called Barra Bravas. Now that's the thing, and it was a bit.
I know the Barra Bravas.
Well, there was a boy from Birmingham wrote a book called that, and that's exactly what he said. He says Boca Juniors is like a tourist thing, and that's the real football. And that's interesting that you confirmed that.
No, definitely. So we went with a proper Boca fan, who's a bit of a lefty and a guy that fights against the system. He's a journalist, a clever guy. I'll tell you a wee story about him the next day. But we'd done what we thought was all the right things, but he couldn't get us in out quick enough. He was more interested in the steak sandwich after the game. That was good. But
lovely. Sounds good.
I mean, that's day two. We'd only slept one night at that point. On the Sunday there was no football because it was the under-21 championships were on, and the final was on that day, but it was too far away. It was like going to Beacon or something for where we stayed. It was just too much effort. So,
especially since you put all that effort in, it is mentally draining, fucking physically draining.
So for me, because I was here as this doesn't sound right, the word Hispanophile, because folk think a paedophile, but I love anything that's culturally Hispanic. I love all that stuff. It's great. It's the other side of me, you know. And so eating their food, living their life, taking the train and attack, all of that stuff for me is brilliant. We discovered that the National Association had put on an exhibition for winning the World Cup again. So we went to that, which tourists didn't go to. So me and Big Ryan are cutting about that. Obviously, they thought we were English because it's the clothes we wear that they think we look English. But the first guy that asked us, and obviously was surprised when I answered, and like enough Spanish to say, no danger, mate, I'm Scottish.
You've insulted me there, Paul.
But as soon as we said that, again, people totally changed. So much nice to us. They walked round, their kids came up and talked to us, and it was really I found it really good. And then in the afternoon, we went to the National Museum that have a permanent football exhibition. That's how important it is to national life there.
Class,
And I know it is good. We cut about San Telmo, which is kind of cultural, the original part. But the same guy that had taken us to Boca turns up with his wife to take us a run down. We didn't ask for a run. No, that's really kind of you. And he gave us a wee tourist run around the town. But wasn't that wasn't what I wanted to do. Anyway, we got to San Telmo and we were just going to look about. That's the original part, kind of slightly dangerous at night, but in the daytime it's fine. But he took us to some British bar. I know.
Couldn't have been the worst thing. It's like going to an Irish bar in Spain.
He was doing me a favour. Me and Ryan are looking at each other. For fuck's sake, I'd rather go to the Irish bar across the road. Excuse my language, everybody. But anyway, notwithstanding that, he then got us to pay for his lunch as well because these guys don't have money. You and me, it's like going to Wetherspoons price-wise. It's cheap as in there.
Right, okay.
So it wasn't a killer, but he's a chancer. You know, because I felt a bit sorry for him because I almost felt you should have just said to me, if you just look, it'd be really nice. I did do you a big favour getting you into Boca. He charged us the most, by the way, of all the games as well. Everybody else charged us face value.
Really?
Aye, yeah, it's all fair. It's just they're just like us. Or Argentinian people, there's a bigger bond than we realise. That I mean, they even look a bit like us. They're obviously a lot of them are Spanish looking because they killed all the Indians, but there's quite a lot of people from Northern Europe have moved there. So you don't, if you speak Spanish here, they kind of just think you're from a different part of one of the Spanish-speaking countries.
Right, okay.
So it's not my big mate Ryan because he was obviously Scottish and only Scottish, but actually I get called Polish a couple of times, but that's actually the subtle way of thinking you're a Jew. Think you're Jewish.
Right, okay.
They call you Polish because you're a big white Northern European, but you speak Spanish. It's like that's how they compute it. So that was interesting, and I mean, the next day we done 2 games in one day. We went to see the Pope's team, San Lorenzo. Talk about this, right? So you think that when you walk up to Celtic Park, and even at Easter Road, you walk up, you can buy anything related to the club that's no official merchandise, right? So Celtic, you punt your Irish stuff, Pope stuff, whatever. And at Hibs, we have a similar, maybe less, but same principles. San Lorenzo club shop, there's no reference to the Pope. Now, I'm no any kind of religious guy, but I'd have loved a Pope in a San Lorenzo shirt or a one with the heads. You know what I mean? Something, you know?
I'm popping you with the cow.
You know what I mean?
You should be a marketing man, mate.
But I talk about missed opportunity. Plus, we were the only guys in the shop. Muggins, I buy a pennant everywhere I go, and
right, cool.
And it was good. And I bought a mug, no thinking I'm going to 2 football matches. I bought 2 mugs. but I stuck with my jacket, and it was all right. We went to see San Lorenzo, it's in a really dangerous area. I'm talking nothing. So those that follow Everton and Liverpool, imagine what it's like, that dead area between the 2 stadiums. You know, there isn't any in Glasgow or Edinburgh as bad as that. Imagine it's like that 10 times worse. It really was like rough as. But the guy that took us to that rocks up. We'd been told he's a young Irish guy that lived there. And it turns out he's a Celtic fan from Glasgow.
You're fine, man, aren't you?
Well, it was quite funny because at that point, we had a Scouser join us they didn't tell the Argentinians he was English, just told them he was Irish.
Right, okay.
The hassle away. But our wee Celtic pal and myself just spent most of the time talking about Scottish football, no Argentinian football. And the Scouse guys are come all this way to Argentina to see San Lorenzo. You paid it, talking about. And then after that game, we jumped in a taxi ourselves and went out to our last game that kicked off at 10:15 on a Monday night.
Oh, jeez.
I know, so it was very Sarsfield, and I just one of 2 teams I just wanted to. I want to see Banfield, but they were playing River Plate. You would never get in as a guest.
Right. Okay.
Because of the strict rules about away fans who just didn't get in. It's like you lot with Rangers, and so we went out there ourselves, made our own way. Went up to the ticket office, me and my best Spanish. There was no prep, nothing. We just had to go up and blag it, basically, and they were brilliant. They loved us. They thought this was fantastic. The 2 Scotsmen and that Irishman would come at 10:15 on a Monday night.
Monday nights to see their team. Definitely. You can
in the club shop, we were given priority up to the front.
Really?
You know, and the women, they sent the English-speaking women. She didn't really speak English, but, you know, they sent English-speaking women to talk to us and ask us why we were here. And then out in the street, I buy stickers and any old football shite. It's just good things. Again, my laddies.
Same as me, football tat.
Just shite you don't need. And it's all in my house now. And in fact, I've got a whole packet of LS stickers here I've not used. But we're outside and folk were coming up to us. And because they just know, because we dress different, they come up to you and they were asking why we were there. Folk were shaking our hands and everything, even in the ground, coming down and tapping us on the shoulders. And no celebrities, just nice. It was
that's class.
I mean, we did other things. Obviously, we done half a day of tourist stuff as well. But I mean, we squeezed an awful lot of football because the next day we woke up, we went to River Plate to see. So
River Plate, yeah. And how was that?
For me, I was going to say, it's like going to Rangers or Chelsea or Hearts to me. I just didn't like it. I didn't feel comfortable. I didn't feel wasn't my team. They're very corporate. To give you an example, the club shop didn't sell badges and pennants. They only sell football strips and things they can sell for a lot of money. It just didn't feel real.
So right, to go back to the Boca Junior, because the Boca was always somewhere I wanted to go, right? The Bombonera and stuff like that.
You should.
I'd love to do it. So obviously you want to go there. The River Plate thing, so read a bit about the history and how River Plate moved out to the more affluent area and stuff like that.
Oh, aye, rich.
And I never realised, though, it would kind of define the club, and that's what you're come up against, a kind of mere...
That's what I felt, but I tend to go with my, that ESP thing about whether you like something or not. And
right.
I didn't feel the love. I felt the love for teams I'd never heard of. I went to Platense second division team stadium, but we went because they play in brown and white. That's why we went. Because that's got to be a reason to go have a look, okay? And they were nice. They play in brown and white. I mean, but they're honestly, my house has got about 5 things that I bought in their club shop because everything was £3. Like, I've got a chopping board. Their nickname's Lost. I know, but you just do. It would be £30. You know, it was £3. Everything was £3. Everything I take to the it was £3. You're joking, it's £3, is it? And their nickname's the Calamaris. So everyone's got the calamaris and a squid on it, and nonsense as it sounds, but we done that. And yet I went there, never heard of them until I went to Argentina, and right away it resonated with me. Ferro Carril Westy, it resonated with me. Went to the stadium and went, I wish I'd come to a game here. And I went to River Plate, and it was just a bit cold and touristy. Right. Lucky there was a wee guy outside selling trinkets, and I love a trinket. So I had a wee World Cup, and he had a wee River Plate had won the Copa Libertadores or whatever it is, and he like the wee shitey things, but kind of 50p stuff. But I kind of liked that. That felt more human, and that's where the kids were queuing up to buy things that were visiting for the day. This one old man selling stuff.
Lovely.
So overall, anybody that wants to go, you should go to Boca Juniors. You should go. But what I will do is please go to 2 or 3 others, because then your eye really opens. There's barras bravas at every club. Like, most of them aren't intimidating. They're just punters like us.
Punters who just want to enjoy themselves.
And if you go and you just always slip on our club colours even a wee bit, even though it might hurt, like putting on blue or red in it, I don't know it. Just I bought all these floppy hats for everybody. Put them on at the game for 10 minutes, so you bit mixed in.
That's you, and then what?
But the reality,
a cup of tea half time with your new mugs.
Well, coffee or that stuff that they drink, which is rancid. The stuff you see them all down.
Mate, is it mate? Aye. What is it? Somebody said to me it was like Balvro.
Sour tea. It's like sour tea. It's like really, really sour tea. But you got to try it. I've got a mate mug from one of the club shops.
Metal straw and all that.
With the metal straw. I've got a lot. I bought Atlanta one, the Jewish team that. You know what I mean? At the time, you're thinking, "Wow, this is just superb." I've got a brilliant pennant. I got a baseball cap that I would now never wear. But at the time, you're thinking, "This is everything was £3 in that." Well, maybe a £5. And that's the thing, if you go to Argentina, guys, it's worth spending the 1,200 quid it costs to fly there, because their B&Bs work at about £10 a night, and nice ones. I stayed in Recoleta, which is like staying in Leith or the West End in Glasgow. It's nice, safe as anything. What's weird is the food. Folk would crap themselves at the food, but you know what they eat? Pies and bridies, empanadas, right?
Really? I suppose, aye. There was
and they're Scottish size. I know the wee shitey ones you get here. They're big muckle, big things to eat. Pizzas, pasta, and then steak.
Did they do the stuffed pizza? I watched it was like street food. It was on Netflix or something, and it went to an Argentina league game. I can't remember the team.
Aye.
And what they'd done was a thing called a choripan, like a sausage.
You know what choripan is? A link sausage on a roll.
But it's chorizo. There's chorizo in it.
No, nah.
There is. I bought it, and I made it exactly how they make it.
You made it like he said, but I went to the football and tried them, and it's a crusty roll with
it's just a roll of sausage.
A normal link sausage in it. It's like you take a bite and you go, "You're fucking joking! I've just got a rolling sausage." It's no anything. No thing it didn't have being from Edinburgh. It was brown sauce.
Brown sauce. Brilliant.
So choripans are an urban myth. Pints are good.
That's brilliant, man.
No, that's because it's like you build yourself up. I ate it at San Lorenzo for the first time in a really rough supporters bar thing, a real rough one, right? But anyway, we could talk about that. That's not the reason. We could almost do a show about Argentina.
You're right. By the way, we should have done that.
Aye, any men, any people, any fans, we are a liberal, open mind. I think you've got to have. I think if you went as a dafty, you wouldn't enjoy it. But if you go with an open mind, ignore the racism that goes on because you hear it, and if you speak Spanish, you hear it more.
Right. Okay.
You get to suss out that actually every club sings the same songs, and it's an urban myth.
See the ignorant, see the racist side of it. Is it more an ignorance thing? Now, like the Italians seem to think that attacking a player's fair game, and you can see anything rather than any inbred built.
Nah, I think in Argentina there isn't black people.
Right, is that basically what it is? Right,
they killed the indigenous Indians. So if a guy plays and he's got dark skin, he's probably Peruvian or Brazilian or something. They move to Argentina and they get dog shit. It's disgusting. The abuse that. You hear it and they don't hide it. They have a simplistic way of describing people. So if you're fat, you're fat. If you're black, you're black. Yeah. And maybe it's our sensitive souls being, this kind of liberal-minded attitude that many of us have, not by any means anybody, but certainly some of the things you hear are like. And the threat, the underlying fear of violence that they have with the Barras Bravas and all that, they get a kicking off of us. It's just, it's not any different. If they started on us, we give as good as we get. There's no intimidating about it. What's frightening about it is how many there are.
How many there's a squad,
Their songs are brilliant, by the way. Their songs are super. I came home dreaming that Hibs could adopt just one because of the funky beats. It's repetitive, it gets going, and the place is rocking to it because it's catchy. It's no like obviously I couldn't pick up the words when they sing. You pick up, and I speak enough Spanish to get quite a few words, but I couldn't get them because they're doing it in an Argentine or a Irish dialect. It was hard, but
we don't seem to have the limp wrist that they've got. We can't do that without looking at a dafty.
And everybody does it. The kids, the women are as fun. I mean, I'll be honest with you though. Somebody in Argentina, it's like a Latin Scottish thing. The love of football is the same. The passion about football is the same. They wear their club colours with pride, walking about the streets. I know in Glasgow that's unusual, but folk didn't think of it. You put a football top on, don't you? And these guys do all of that, and the girls do it as well. I liked it, and I've always wanted to go to Patagonia. As a nowhere in my football heat.
Yeah, of course.
I would go back for that. Would I go back to Buenos Aires as a tourist? You'd only go for the football. Just go for the football. Go for a couple of cultural things. You could do a day and see everything you really need to see.
Yeah. That's really interesting.
want to see, but football you could do a week. We had a young Liverpool fan, ironically, me being an Evertonian, but joined us because he was on his own. But he was a great kid, and he wanted to hook on with us because he wasn't confident to go and do it himself. And I'm no fear of end. I just go for it, you know. But it was brilliant bringing him along because it's so you see what kind of he's like. Liverpool was a Liverpool ultra, so he's like your lot and our lot at the moment.
Right,
He's one of them, but brave enough to go and do all that, but no brave enough to go on his own. So we took him a lot. And I thought it was brilliant because he could see that the Argentinian guys, English guys, have a different attitude to Argentina, maybe for us as well. So that was an eye opener. So anyway,
right. Let's go on to it. Right, so
you could cut that
as
one
always, this is the first chat of the season. So as always, we'll have a wee look at last season, and last season there was a fair bit of fucking talk about. Right, so after the previous season failures of Jack Ross and Sean Maloney, David Gray being the interim twice, Hibs appointed Lee Johnston as manager at the end of May 2022. Season kicked off on the 9th of July as Hibs were paired with Clyde, Falkirk, Bonnyrigg Rose and Morton in the League Cup group. Opening day win 5-0 over Clyde was followed by a 1-0 away defeat by Falkirk, a 4-1 away win over Rose, and then a 1-1 draw with Morton, and then a 3-1 penalty defeat, which means Hibs finished the group with 7 points in second. But wait, it turns out that Hibs fielded Rocky Busheri, who had been suspended, which of course meant that Hibs were awarded a 3-0 loss and Hibs were out. In the league, decent start. A 1-0 win over St Johnstone and then a draw in the derby. A few bumpy results, but then a 4-match winning streak gave hope that the team had settled. However, with the World Cup looming, Hibs would end up winning 1 from 7. So as of the 12th of November, when Hibs were beaten 1-0 away to Kelly, that sat them in 8th position. 16 games played, 6 wins, 2 draws, 8 defeats, 18 goals scored, 23 conceded, goal difference -5, 20 points on board, 1 point behind Hearts, St Johnstone, St Mirren in 5th, 6th and 7th, and 3 ahead of Motherwell. Right, so as the World Cup finished, what was your thoughts at that point?
What have we done?
Really, straight away?
So to paint some context around that, I missed the first game of the season last year because I go on holiday always when we're in playing the League Cup, I always miss one. So I missed that, and I landed when Falkirk scored to lose that other one. So I wasn't sure of your signing, but I'm always positive about any decision made by the club. You've got to support it, and I know that folk accuse you of being a happy clapper. It isn't that. I'm an intelligent man. I just want Hibs to succeed, and I'll give every guy a chance. By Christmas time, I would say more than 50% of the Hibs support had turned against them. I hadn't, because I believe in giving him chances and opportunities to redeem himself. And when you go on, you'll see that people might have thought he maybe was starting to get the knack here. But and as you know, Scott, I only missed 1 game last season. That was 2 games last season. That was the first 2 when I was on holiday. I go home and away, and I don't miss games. And so I like to think I form an honest opinion. And my honest opinion was, I could see what everybody was saying, but I wanted to give the guy a chance. And I knew he was a slaver, but you can park slavering. You know, you can see past that if the team's taking shape and things are looking good, and we've got 1 or 2 good players. And we'd suffered, and what you didn't mention there, and is very important, the first half of last season, we had dreadful injury problems. Our good players, our best players are Kevin Nisbets and goal scorers who came back and proved to be a good player. So he was a wee bit hamstrung. Paul Hanlon didn't play. I know he's getting old now, but Paul Hanlon is critical. You know, all of these things mixed up to think, give the guy a fair go. So, but it got to the mid-season break, and you're thinking, no again, because we go through managers like
I'd like to talk about that later on, mate. Just because that is something that cracks out to me. The amount I get, but we'll come to that anyway, right? So we'll finish half the season, right? So we returned, and it was a trip to Snake Mountain, a spirited 3-2 defeat. You were twice leading in that match, and you
should have beat them.
almost ran out of puff. I think that game as I watched it,
Yeah.
a good 4-0 win over Livingston, followed, and everything, like you said, everyone suddenly looked up. Maybe they're getting there. And see, to be honest, this is my wee summary. It seemed to be his whole tenure was like that. Inconsistent runs of results. Either big runs of defeats or big runs a lot of wins. Seems to be.
So you know his nickname is, Scott? His nickname is Streaky.
Right.
Streaky. That's his nickname.
I didn't know that.
No,
Right,
well, yeah, it comes up what you said.
So, like I say there, two defeats followed by 7 unbeaten, and then 4 losses, and then another 4 unbeaten. Streaky, right enough. So, come the final day, the 1-1 final day derby with Hibs at Tynecastle, Hibs finished in 5th place. 38 games played, 15 won, 7 draws, 16 losses, 57 scored, 59 conceded, -2 GD, 52 points on board, 2 behind Hearts in 4th, and 6 ahead of St Mirren in 6th, thus qualifying for the Europa Conference League second round qualifier. In the Scottish Cup, drawing the Hearts, beating the Hearts. I'm not touching it. Also, it's got to be remembered in the season in February 2023, after a year of fighting cancer, Ron Gordon had passed away, succumbed in the early hours of Tuesday, the 21st of February. He was actually Peru born of Scottish heritage. I only found that when I done my wee bit of research. He spent most of his life in the US. In 2019, he purchased a share for Ron Petrie and Todd Farmer and became the major shareholder in the club. So, before you give me your summary of the season, what was his legacy in his relatively short time at the club?
His positivity about making Hibs a big team again would be his legacy. He started in the back of the club, no the front of the club. So that's a bit of the uncomfortable legacy. Invested in what goes on to make more money, to get punters in that willing to put more money into the club. It's a very American thing. He was Peruvian by birth and Scottish by family, but he'd been brought up in America, but he was a football man, and so it was a great loss to Hibs. We all felt pain, discomfort, sadness, because he was a good guy, and it came through really quickly how much he loved the club, and that's no easy when you introduce yourself to something new. I mean, none of us could do that, so we felt quite distraught when that happened, because what comes next after something like that? His legacy is that, I mean, again, it's, do you talk about then or do you talk about now? His legacy certainly has shown that he had the right plans in place, because our income generation is massive in comparison to what used to be off field.
So sponsors
and getting Hibs fans to buy into corporate seats and stuff that isn't really a Hibs thing. And Celtic have it too now, don't they? It's
of course, yeah. It is the way. I mean, you look at Celtic Park, and we spoke about it on the show. See Celtic Park right now. If we had the money, we'd be better off knocking it down and starting again, and doing it right. Because when it was built, it wasn't made for corporate fans. It was made to get as many supporters in. And do you know what I mean? And it's now a thing. You need these corporate.
How much money they pay? Yeah,
exactly.
and
you need
we have mutual friends with boxes at Celtic Park, don't we? You're listening, and to be honest with you, I could easily, Scott, just buy a seat in the corporate bit. Some of my pals have. It's a fantastic day out. Hibs have now got 4 bars in the main stand alone.
That's brilliant.
Proper bars. One of them's a punters bar that there's nothing about it apart from the fact it's in the ground and it's easy to get your seat, because you can get a pint still in the Hibs club down the road for half the price. But so we've done that. Well, the Hibs club's great, and I'm an advocate of that, and it's one of the last reasons I did just keep my seat, but buy an Albion Bar seat, which Albion Bar used to be the pub on the corner beside the Hibs ground that turned into a shop.
Okay.
But they renamed it and moved into the stadium, and I think it's either 200 or 400 paid members per season going there, and they're about to do the same in the famous 5, the Hibs behind the goal.
Clever, good idea.
And people pay, and you get in, and you're there, and you walk through a special door, and you're in your seat, and all of that. I'm not really a corporate football fan. I follow Hibs and I follow Everton. Neither club are famous for that part of it. It's what the future looks like. So what he left there, and for all we criticise Suntan Ben, our CEO, he's been brilliant at that part of it. Brilliant at it. He's not a football man as such per se, but he's
got that. Yeah. Right.
No, just one wee thing about Ron Gordon. He was a gentleman and was in favour in pro Scottish football, not pro any given team, obviously Hibs, but he wanted Scottish football to flourish, and
which is refreshing, mate. Which is really refreshing.
And there's other guys that maybe don't get the credit. I don't know about your own club. I do a wee bit, but I'm not going to comment. You'll have stronger opinions than me in your own club. But there's some people trying to work for the betterment of Scottish football, and that's how it should be. And Ron Gordon was clearly one of them. And we had a memorial for him after he passed. And as I said, it affected even big guys like me who've been there and done it. It was no nice. It was sad, and unfortunately, we chose the day to do that when we played your friends from across the other side of the Clyde, and they went through the minutes applause and the respect around it by singing all their filth, and it stuck with us. And if they think we hated them before. They've no idea how much we hate them now, and it was 4,000 of them. Although they'll say it's a small vocal minority, it was all of them singing every one of their songbook that is offensive to all society, not just Hibs fans, but particularly offensive to a gentleman who'd passed away and his family were in the stand. Wow. Yeah, wow. So just for some context about other things that might come up. The behaviour that day is some of the worst I've ever seen in my life, and I was ashamed.
Wow,
no fun.
Wow.
That's
something. That's something, mate.
It wasn't in the press much. Wasn't talked about because it isn't fashionable and it's not really what comes out. But what I will say is that Hibs had a big support that day, and every one of us remember. Every one of us, I'll never forget it. I hated them my whole life, and Rangers fans, listen, I fucking hate you. And it's you, not even your club, it's you. But behaviour like that brings on behaviour. Now, I'm not justifying idiots anywhere, but there's no need. There's no need. A bit of respect goes a long way. And when you didn't show respect, you didn't get respect. That's all I'll say about that one.
We'll maybe touch on that a wee bit once we come to the game itself. Right. Now, whilst I've got you in ranty mode, so the season's done. You've had a full year of Lee Johnston. What was your thoughts on the terracings at Easter Road at the end of the season?
60% want to redeem that in the close season and bring someone recognisable in who's going to do the Hibs way. The guy changed it every week. He had no plan A, never mind plan B most of the time. He undermined players. He criticised the fans at one point, which is when you've done that, you're knackered. I would have said, end of the season, I'm not a happy clapper at all, but I thought, give him a chance. He's not had a full go of it. Yeah, you need a couple. Sometimes our managers need more than a couple of windows just to get your own team in. But most of my pals, they were all right in the end. They were correct. I was wrong. I was just trying to defend them. I made my mind up later, and I'll tell you about that later on. But in a minute. But I thought, keep him, give him a chance. And if you were to have a vote, it would probably be, which we did. We had votes on the websites we run, and it was probably 60-70% wanted rid of him immediately. Right. He plays for Hearts.
Exactly. Well, the waffle that came out of him, I mean, I told you this last time we spoke. I told you that I was in the press conference and I flung a question to him, and he answered. It was like fucking 25 minutes. He was sitting talking for. I was like, fucking hell.
You say that because I'm going to tell you about one that I interviewed him on.
Right, okay.
So leading nicely into that, the new season's about to begin, and Hibs announced a fantastic trip to Marbella for our pre-season, playing Bournemouth and Europa, who were one of, I don't know if we were a European team, they beat Celtic, or was one of the Red Imps beat you,
Red
but
Imps
a
was
Gibraltarian team, aye. And so that's great, Marbella, and me, Hib staff, me and my pal, I said to the wife, you want to come? It's actually about 6 miles from where me and my wife go to holidays every year, so it's like winter. She didn't want to come, so me and the boys go. Fantastic. But one of the tasks I was set is I cut about the place, so I know the place well, and had I hired a car and followed Hibs everywhere. And we got to go to a training day, and they allowed us to interview the manager.
Right, brilliant.
And obviously, as one of the founders of the Bouncer, Hibs Bouncer website that I'm part of, asked for questions because it's not about me, it's about the punters. And so everybody was sitting there asking him, what's his favourite flavour of cheese, and does he like Adidas over Nike, shite like that. I was asking pertinent questions about the future of Hibernian and what he was doing with us. And he done to me what he done to you, 25 minutes and he answer. Waffle. So I asked him again, asked him what his ambitions were for himself and for Hibernian. That's not a big, hard question to ask, is it? It's win the league, Forget the fact we're never going to win the league or might not win the league. Start with that conversation and we can have a jovial laugh. But he just went round in circles and I don't think I got an answer out of him. That was the day I changed my mind on him.
Right,
because
okay.
You can't give the good guys a straight. The guys that are kind of half defending you. If you can't give some, they know who I am. Gavin Rittu that does the corporate stuff, he knows exactly. I hope they know who I am. I'm not being big-headed. But if I'm asking they questions when all the other guys are gathered about, what's your favourite sandwich, a steak one or a cheese one, and then a guy asks you about your future for Hibs and he doesn't answer it.
Listen, as you say, use it the friends. Use it the friends in the room. He's only there to attack him. You're not there to bring him down. You're looking for him to encourage you and for him to kind of exactly.
For me to come back. So I mean, we went to that. We're not really touching that, but I then got on a plane home at the end of the trip. So we had a holiday, we had a great time. Hibs in Europe. It was the practice for Hibs in Europe. It was brilliant. But I was on the plane with Brian McDermott, our new director of football. I don't know if you've taken notes about him joining the old Leeds and Reading manager.
I remember the specky baldy fella.
Here's a funny side thing. He's English, brought up in Reading, but he identifies as Irish. How weird is that? She said that. But I was standing in the queue on the Jet2 flight home, and he was in front of me. Of course, he's thinking he's incognito. Who's going to recognise a wee guy in a pair of jeans and a tracky top? Well, Dafty did. So I half interviewed him on the plane, and I come home with a 10 times better attitude than I'd had before I got on it.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
Interesting.
He was brilliant. He was telling me no secrets, no whispering. Let me tell you about this one. It's like, look, I've got a plan. This is where I think the gaps are, and I'm thinking that's what I see. That's what I'm thinking. There's an intelligent man. But the nicest part about it is A, was engaging, but B, the guy knew what he was talking about. And I was like,
sent from heaven.
And he got the Hibs thing about, the community club, the strong identity that we have with our history, and, all the things that others don't see, but to us is really important. The Hibernian way of playing football, about, signing a defender's good, but signing an attacker's even better type chat that we had, because he was telling me the two people he chased and got.
Right, okay.
And he asked me not to say who they were, and it turned out that, he told me who they were, but he said, please don't say so. I never, and I had all the guys to bounce saying, he knows something, he knows. I did, but I didn't know what he said, and he got them. And all of a sudden, Lee Johnston benefited from that. I kept a bit more of an open mind than I should have. I should have come back from Spain and said, he's a slavering diddy, and he's never going to make it. And we're watching Fleetwood now, and it's almost a bit arseholiness about it. But I look for the results, hoping they get beat. Right? You shouldn't. You shouldn't. You know what? There's other ex-Hibs managers, Tony Mowbray, Alan Stubbs. All these guys are got. There's guys that you just want to do well. And then I look at Lee Johnston, and then I watched a couple of his interviews on Twitter. And it's like,
same.
So summary, Lee Johnston. It was. It didn't work, and it's maybe Hibs board's lack of understanding of what's important about Scottish football.
It was a real one. I mean, Hibs had a decent decent period where they were appointing out of the box managers, and it was working relatively. But that one, I didn't get it because I remember, because Sunderland's such a big club and they fell so far down. I think they're always in people's interest, and you always have a look at them to see. And that show obviously showed them up as well. But I remember him at Sunderland, and I remember everybody going, "This guy's a fucking dumb one." Do you know what I mean? So, but anyway,
and yet Jack Ross had been on that same show and came over quite well, and didn't he come out bad on it?
Yeah,
even with Sunderland collapsed, and he managed Bristol City, Lee Johnston as well.
So he did, yeah.
A big team, you know, they're in power and support and income as Hibs. You know,
he first came to my prominence when I think he actually played for his dad, Gary Johnson. His dad was Yeovil Town manager. And I remember, and I always remember Yeovil Town because he wore the green and white hoops. And I always stick with it. But anyway, you gave me a perfect segue, and I'm going to grab on it. You're talking about the new signings, right? So as per, you can sit back and relax, and I'll fucking go through everybody who's been in and out. Right, so out, Darren McGregor retired and joined the coaching staff. 7 seasons at the club, 188 games, 8 goals. Mickey Devlin ended his injury-struck short time at the club and moved to Livingston. Aidan McGeady finished his own injury-ridden spell, joined Ayr United. 25-year-old Polish keeper Kevin Dabrowski joined Raith Rovers. Croat left-back Marian Cabraja, after 1 season and 20-odd games, departed for his homeland in Rijeka for an undisclosed fee. Kyle McGuinness ended his own 3-year spell at the club, departed for Kelly. Former Bodo winger Runar Holger ended his 1-year spell with the club and returned to Norway with FK Jerry. Interestingly, 18-year-old forward Ethan Laidlaw left for a move to EPL side Brentford, again for an undisclosed fee, but I'm led to believe it was a decent amount. And obviously the massive one, Kevin Nisbet, after 101 games, 39 goals, departed for Millwall for a fee around 2 million, which seems a lot less than what you should have got. 18-year-old Murray Aiken, 19-year-old Kanayo Megwa, 19-year-old English defender, and Josh Connor. Josh O'Connor joined Edinburgh for the season. Murray Johnson, 18-year-old Scotland under-21 keeper. Oscar McIntyre, 18-year-old left-back, and Kyle McClellan, 21-year-old Northern Irish under-21 keeper, all joined Queen of South on loan. Dylan Tate went to Hamilton Accies. Noah Kenny again went out on loan, this time to Shrewsbury. Daniel Mackay, the winger, joined Livingston on loan for a year. The other Bodo signing, Elias Melkerson, he's went back to Norway for a loan spell with Strømgodset. And one that totally went under the radar for me was Ewan Henderson, left the club and joined Oostende in Belgium for a loan for the season.
Yeah.
Right. And Boric returned to Scotland as Max Boric, a 20-year-old Polish keeper, was signed from Slack Wrocław for an undisclosed fee. Dylan Levitt, after Dundee United's relegation, was picked up for around 300 grand. Ricky Hardbottle, a 23-year-old English defender, was signed from Nottingham Forest for an undisclosed fee. Dylan Vente was signed from Roda in the Netherlands for around 700,000. The Netherlands under-20 cap striker was prolific in the Eerste Division in the Netherlands. Eli Yuan, a 24-year-old French forward, was signed from St. Gallen for around $500,000. 36-year-old journeyman striker Adam Lafonda ended his own international adventures and signed in a free from Sydney City. Jordan Obita was picked up from Wycombe Wanderers in a free. The 29-year-old can play anywhere on the left-hand side. Jojo Wallacott, a 27-year-old goalkeeper, was signed from Charlton, again, undisclosed fee. And finally, Will Fish, the centre-back who played 21 games on loan for the club last season for Man United, again renewed his loan. Fish is England under-19 international. Right, so we're a good bit down the line now. I presume you've seen the vast majority. Who's impressed? Who's not impressed? Who are you missing? Who is there anybody at the party you're kind of going, fuck, we could have done with keeping him?
Well, Nizzy, but we were never going to keep him.
Of course, that's it.
Natural goal scorer, and he probably is only a £2 million player, unfortunately.
Really? Is that right?
Well, I think if he stayed fit, he'd be much more.
All right, okay, yeah.
Just summary here in your list. Quite a lot of young players haven't left. They've gone to Airdrie.
Yeah. Airdrie, Queen of South.
So I'll touch on Airdrie and tell you about it. Queen of the South makes perfect sense to me, but doesn't make any sense to me Airdrie, because Airdrie, let's be honest, I'm a Hibs fan, you're a Celtic fan, you know what we think of Airdrie. And it's astounding that that's where they've ended up. But it turns out the guy that manages them really brings on the youngsters and does a brilliant job.
I was going to say, I've got a friend in Airdrie. Well, I say a friend. Brian Prunty used to play with Celtic and Aberdeen, and he scored 100 goals. So Brian, I know he's in there, and he was talking to me when Reece was appointed. And he was like, "Oh, this guy wants to play football. It's on the deck. I know it's so tough, but it's on the deck." And as you say, he's really no scared to throw the young guys in. So as much as you say,
the three are doing brilliantly for them, and one of them get man of the match at the weekend. Meg was a very strong right back who might make it. Touching on ones we lost, just in Laidlaw. Laidlaw's a Hibs laddie. He's one of us, one of the boys. He comes into the Hibs end when he's, when he's not playing. The story I heard, because we were all baffled why he just wouldn't stay, because he was taking a step up to play in the first team. Simple stuff. But the word is it was Lee Johnston. He couldn't stand him. That's why he left.
Fuck.
You know what I mean? Because he was saying, why is he not playing me? No being big-headed. The laddie's a Hibby, a good football. He played for us, and Hibs played in the Kids' Champions League last year.
Right, we played Dortmund.
I went along to see them, and he was head and shoulders. He was a man amongst boys. He was like the Germans. He was like the Germans, the big, strong laddies that look like men. So losing him's very disappointing, because he's not making the moves at Brentford, because there is a giant step there. So, I mean, the summary of who we lost, fair enough. I mean, I've got comments on all of them. I'm not going to go through it. Who did we bring in that's good? Well, Will Fish, we were delighted about, and that was one of Mr. McDermott's things. He said, "Mark, I've been working. That's why I've not been in Spain." I've been working on bringing Will Fish back. So, because it was a bit turned into one of these sagas. It's like, how's he not just signing? Because Man United aren't going to play him, but he will be. He is good enough to be a Man United player in due course. The laddies. He's the best of the back four, in my opinion. Right, that we've got. We have back six. 4 of 6. Adam Le Fondre. When I first watched him, I thought he was seeing his time out. Right, and I thought it was a pal thing. I'm absolutely wrong. He's a good player. He's an excellent player to have in your team. Hibs have always had, when we've been in our pomp at our best, we've normally had an old guy up front that works with the youngsters and teaches them things. Le Fondre's got that, so I'm very pleased with Adam Le Fondre. And I like the fact when he comes on as a sub, it's great. It's just a pity we don't have somebody beside Venti. Venti's brilliant. He's a good laddie. He'll make it. We'll sell him for money. Right, you go, and that's fine. That's part of the region.
100%.
So Dylan Venti scores goals naturally, and anywhere from 10 yards out, boom, you stick it in the net, and he works back, and he works hard, and he tracks the ball, and he's energetic. And Venti, I have no doubts that he's worth 700,000. Who do you have doubts about? Lee Johnston actually played for us last season, but we had an agreement that if he done well, we had an option to buy.
Right,
so
okay.
We bought him, and when he's good, he's brilliant, a bit like Martin Boyle. And when he's shite, he's not worth playing. Unfortunately, you know what I'm going to say next. He's more often than not doesn't try hard.
Does he try?
And he's got it. An interesting one that you didn't kind of mention, because it all happened kind of when Lee Johnston was involved, was bringing Boiler back to Saudi, because he went away.
Yeah, of course.
And come back injured, but Boyle's lost half a yard of pace, not a yard of pace, but he has lost a bit of pace. And I think Celtic fans would know that's your greatest fear when you play us as Martin Boyle on the ball, because you don't know what you're getting, and he scores goals. This season could be easier marked, which is really sad to see. A good defender will pick up his one or two very clever tricks. Ewan, I'm disappointed in. Venti, I like. Le Fondre, I like. You'll notice I'm talking about the attack. In midfield, we've changed shape, and we'll touch on it with the new boss, but we've changed shape So our two midfielders are superb, been brilliant for us. Our defence, other than Will Fish, and that's no fair. But young Miller's just a laddie, and we brought him in, and Lee Johnston didn't give the laddie a chance. He basically played him at Parkhead. He had a good game at Parkhead, but somebody, I think Ewan got sent off, and Hibs collapsed, and Miller seemed to get the blame, and it wasn't Miller's fault. So Lewis Miller's a good player, but he's still a young laddie, and he played twice for Australia last week. I mean, that's brilliant. He played twice for Australia. It's great, and then come back and have a stinker at Ibrox. But then Rangers would have said, hang on, the laddie's played twice in a week for Australia, so let's push down that lane. And so the right side of Hibs defence is good, the left side of Hibs defence is either old or rubbish. And any team that plays us with a good manager or a tactician at the back will quickly work out. You want to beat Hibs, you just have to score one more goal than them, because we score loads. But again, this is hard. Celtic fan, Hibs fan, right? 4-3 Hibs, 4-3 Celtic. You come out of the game, fucking, that was brilliant.
The game of football.
Nil.
Stinking.
I'm just going to stay in the pub. That's the reality of the football team I support, and I think Celtic fans aren't that dissimilar to us, and so it's a kind of weird one. It's like, fine, our defence isn't good. David Marshall's finished. He's
on my list. He's on my list.
So he's finished. He makes too many really big errors, and I'm hoping we've cut out Wallacott, who I've watched, and I didn't rate the guy we brought in for Charlton. I can't see what he brings. He's too short. He's too wee. Doesn't look like a goalie I want in my team. But Boric that we brought in looks like a goalie. But then the young laddie that we sent to Raith Rovers, I forgot his name, the Polish lad. Aye. So young Kevin was a great guy. And I'd have kept him. The rumour was he made some intolerant comment or something. And however, it couldn't have been a racist one, because he went to Queen of the South, and that's the other thing you mentioned, Queen of the South. Hibs will send all their good players to Queen of the South. That's what I want. You know why? Because Marvin Bartley's in charge.
There you go.
If he continues his climb up the managerial ladder, he will be Hibs manager one day, and we'll open the door and brush the carpet for him and welcome him home, because he became one of us, and like, again, Celtic fans know that feeling of the guys that click with your team.
Definitely.
That's life, and Marvin's a good guy. He's a bit outspoken, and I think he's probably broke a couple of rules in his time, but he takes Hibs players, we send them there, I'm happy, because in Queen of the South, let's be honest, I'm saying that, I've always liked Queen of the South. It's one of the teams that they deserve a bit of local support. They're a local club that, hopefully, you know what I'm going to say, there shouldn't be buses going to Parkhead and Ibrox every week for Dumfries. They should be going to see Queen of the South, because they're good enough to watch. Do you know what I mean? So I wish them success, and I'm happy for the Hibs youngsters go down there. Unfortunately, we've got millions of youngsters play for us, because that's how we make our money. But they're all playing in all these leagues. I mean, we played Sunderland today. You know what I mean? They won, by the way.
It's interesting, Matt, right? Because I listen to all these shows, and there's a podcast out, and it's on YouTube as well. It's called Improving Scottish Football. And I like it, right? I mean, it can be a bit sterile at times, but ultimately these guys are talking about how to improve Scottish football. And I've heard the arguments for the B teams and against the B teams. And for Celtic, the B team really needs to play higher. But is it fair to bring a B team into the Scottish League? For us personally, we'd need it to be in League One. You know what I mean? But I can see League One teams doing.
But I absolutely disagree with it. But I understand why you say it.
As a football fan, a purist on it, I kind of go, nah, why should that? However, we've got all these young guys, and that level's no good enough for them. Mm-hmm. Do you know what I mean? So anybody that's...
It's a separate conversation, but what I would say is what was wrong with the reserve league, where you had guys coming back for injury who are multi-million-pound players, and you got an extra 200 on your crowd to go and see it, along with all the youngsters that were the best of the teams. we've neglected to promote that as the real option, and all these other options that, for various reasons, clubs get involved in. Hearts, Celtic, and Rangers with the Lowland League or whatever it is you play in now.
Rangers aren't in it anymore.
Are they not in it anymore? I probably can't afford it. Second bus every week, but or Hibs playing like Sunderland today and playing Northern English team. That can't be financially viable to stick laddies on a bus and send them down. Oh, Hibs won 3-1 today. I mean, I'd beaten Sunderland, but it was mostly first team subs that ended up playing.
Right, fuck.
That's what the reserve should be. Or let's all adopt St Rochs, let's adopt Edinburgh Spartans or Edinburgh City like Hibs did for a couple of years and have that as our second team and put all the players out there. But there's got to be a better way. At the moment, it's disjointed for me. But again, we're here to talk about Hibs and Celtic at the weekend, but the reality is that there's so many things wrong with Scottish football.
100%. 100%.
But we're not working together.
With that, and that applies to us as fans as well, and which sticks in the craw on it because you don't really want to deal much with Rangers fans and stuff like you've. But the fact of the matter is,
there's a couple of things I'd like today.
I'll tell you the new. I was going to bring up later, but I went to the fans forum and we had the top brass sitting there, and I asked them about bringing the away tickets down, and I says, is there any joined up thinking, talking to other clubs and bring down the tickets for everybody? And you would have thought I'd fucking shat in the fucking middle of the flare, man. They were like, who's this guy? Do you know what I mean? It's never been spoken about, and I'm like, he's talking.
To be honest, Scott, it's only done in England because Sky pay for it.
No, I understand that, but it's a good thing, right? But that's by right. Anyway,
there is another quick conversation, right? Hearts got punched on the nose yesterday because their fans didn't turn up because they knew they were going to get pumped. That's what it came down to. And because if it was Rangers, I suspect they might have moved on it. But because it's you guys, it's like when we play Rangers. So you're never going to.
The thing that kills me with it is they've cut that allocation. As you said, if they're filling that stadium, then your horns go up. Yeah. But it's also the fact that they've got the big covers, and there's a good. I would imagine another 500. Huh?
Nah, it's a couple hundred. Because we get the full end, but they still put the covers on each corner to stop the guys.
No, but there's a massive cover between the fans, right? And then there's the covers in the corner. Yeah. Just so people can't stand and fling.
If I was advocating something different, right? I know the fear of the other clubs, right? Yeah, is that we can't sell our tickets. We sell our tickets for Celtic, no problem, right? So it's no a biggie to Hibs. We get our tickets, but there is shittest seats in the stadium by a country mile, right? If Celtic offered a bit more based on demand, because the tourist seats beside us, we hear all the guys beside us are no real Celtic. They're tourists. Maybe Celtic take the first step and say, hang on, pick a team, St Mirren, Hibs, teams that go along with it, and Aberdeen, we bring our support. We're going to give you 1,200 tickets. We're going to charge you £25 each to get in. We're going to charge £12.50 for students and kids and all of that. But the one deal is you reciprocate when our fans come. Now, Hibs will go, oh no, because we sell 4,000 or 3,500 tickets to you, and that's. But I think somebody's got to take that first step. It's no Celtic and Rangers, I'm sorry, because you two just. It's like bitch fighting. You just slap each other.
100%. 100% agree with everything you said. 100%.
Good.
I mean, I think that. Yeah, I mean, Celtic and Rangers need to give something back to get something back. You can't keep taking.
Could I just say I don't care about Rangers because their attitude is very different, and I don't really care about Celtic either. But you didn't help yourselves by giving Hibs 900 seats, 250 of them you can see from, and the rest you can't. It's like, come on, didn't he? Give us.
We've done this one, Mark. We've done this one.
It's like, it's fine. Rangers didn't want us here because they didn't want our fans and our team humiliating them. They didn't like it, right? That's why they don't invite Celtic. It's nothing else. It's because you go, you beat them, and you sing songs that they don't like, right? And we didn't beat them. We sing songs they don't like. So the gears just see.
Right, we're back on scope here, right? So
world's to right.
Let's look at the squad as is the new, right? And I'm going to be, as usual, flying out. So you've already brought up Davy Marshall. I watched till they scored the second on Saturday, and I'm saying, how's Marshall getting beat for there? And I agree with you. I think he's done. Man, I've never actually been that big a fan of him, but you know. So let's look at this.
Save, Scott. He makes the odd brilliant save that saves his honest.
I suppose, right? Okay.
But yeah, I'm with you.
So as you said, right, so the guys that stand out for me, Paul Hanlon, Will Fish were two. Paul Hanlon, Rocky Bashiri, the £10 million centre half. Then you've got guys like Josh Campbell, Martin Boyle. So aside for the guys, who's the guys that I should be looking for? Who's the young guys that can make the step up? Who's the unheralded heroes in the team?
So Lewis Miller, absolutely. He's a right back that will step on. He maybe only championship in England, but he will make it. He's a good football player. He's an athlete. He's a big laddie. He's better attacking than defending, but can defend reasonably well. So you wouldn't worry about our right side with Will Fish beside him. Will Fish will play for Man United one day. Paul Hanlon, you mentioned. Paul, I love Paul. He's one of us. He's another Hibs fan. So how can you hate him? There's Hibs fans dislike him. It's like, what the fuck? But
that's what happens, isn't it?
It's weird. Him and Lewis Stevenson are like absolute heroes to me, and yet there's Hibs fans that say he's shite, shouldn't get a game for Hibs anymore. It's like, no, he's getting older. Pick him when we need him. But you ask me who are the players that are going to like be the future for Hibs? Unfortunately, we're not really getting to see them. Because they're not getting brought through. So our bench at the moment is filled with first team players that we've signed that are first team players. So the promise of youth is yet to come. I think our boss, he will do that in due course, but he's still finding his feet. It's 6 games in. He's probably. I know he goes to all the kids' games and watches them as well, and he's picking out the best of us. There isn't one to me that stands out at the moment that will walk straight into the team, and that's because all our subs are made up of, oh, you're joking, no him, or still him. You know, it's
right, okay.
Yeah. So our first 11, maybe our first 13 is pretty good, but we're always only going to win 2-1, 3-2. Because you just know there's a goal going to be leaked. Dylan Venter will succeed. He's a football player. Hibs have great hopes for him because we just want to make money on him. Sell him to England.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Which is again needs to be done. The thing about it is, us as football fans, we never ever get a fucking dividend of that, do we? So I'd rather keep him.
So and Hibs have done that with Martin Boyle. So I'm comfortable that on occasion we do things that appease the fans. Martin Boyle come back, and that's made us kind of happy that Boyler's back. He's no the man he was. That injury's definitely done something. But if you'd asked me now, who do I think will be a famous Hibs player? If you'd asked me a year ago, it was easy. It was Ryan Porteous, and he's proven so, playing for Scotland and showing his worth. We didn't have one of them at the moment.
Right.
And I'm hoping by the end of the season, when we do our pre-match one for next time we play you, I'm starting to see, well, actually, Montgomery's brought in this laddie and this laddie. I think Megwith is at Airdrie at the moment. There's something there. He's a right back too. I don't think Josh O'Connor's going to make it, which is sad. Gary O'Connor, his daft dad. You probably watched the recent segment.
I did watch him.
that was if ever you've seen laddies for the north side of Edinburgh, that was 2 laddies for the north side of Edinburgh. and Derek come over quite intelligent, which just shows you.
I know. Just by saying less, he came across more intelligent.
Looking at him with disdain, but notwithstanding that, we'd hope Josh might be something because his dad was a good player, and being Hibs men, you get that 10% that you maybe don't get. But unfortunately, he's coming on as a sub at Airdrie. which isn't promising. So I couldn't pick one development player that's coming through and standing out. There's a couple that are decent. Del Fieri's good. That he gets in and out the team, and he's a good lad. He's a Belgian lad that Sean Maloney brought in. They obviously seen something. But I think we need to revisit what we've got in the development team, the under 18 team. Hibs under 18 team competes quite well. We end up high up the end of the league, but they're awfully frail. Sometimes I go and watch them, and they're wee skinny laddies. That's why the young boy that went down to Brentford, whose name escapes me, he looked like a man, and that was the difference. Laidlaw, he looked like a man, and and I'm sure Celtic see the same when you watch your boys are young and frail, and it's the difference between.
Definitely.
So.
Whereas you see when you're coming up against Tottenham's and Man United's, all the young guys seem to be big fucking.
We played Sunderland in a friendly. It was like Land of the Giants. Honestly. Team run out, and it was half a B team. And honestly, every laddie was 6'2" and big, broad,
physical.
Skinny laddies that just come out of school playing for Hibs, Wiry wee fellas. You do wonder about our Scottish thing. Just a quick aside, we're playing you at the weekend, and I've arranged for some of the Groningen. Groningen and Hibs have a massive link. They played a friendly recently. It didn't go the way it wanted. They ended up fighting each other, the Dafties, which, given we spent 20 years going back and forward, drinking pints together and having a laugh, and but notwithstanding any of that, I got 14 of them coming over at the weekend that I've had to come. The condition was they're not here to watch Celtic. I said, I want you.
Brilliant.
Yeah, come and support Hibs. But when we go to play Groningen and when you meet them before the game, they're all the same. They're all 6'2", 6'3". I'm a big guy, like fuck.
I still don't
you go in the Hibs club. You go in the Hibs club, it's like there's the Dutch guys around.
The Dutch guys are they're dumping to the door. Right, okay. So this season, after qualifying for Europe, that excused the team from competing in the League Cup groups. So the season kicked off on the 27th of July this year with a visit to Andorra. A terrible 2-1 defeat by Interclub de Escaldes was an embarrassing blot, but sure enough, 6-1 reverse at home saw them through comfortably. Luzern of Switzerland were next. A fantastic 3-1 home result and a nice 2-2 away saw them through the playoff round. Drawn with EPL side Aston Villa, a 4-0, a 5-0 battering, to be honest, and then a 3-0 away defeat meant that Europe was done for the season. So before we jump into the League Cup, just your thoughts on Europe. Give us your stories. You were telling me I saw your photos. You were Mr. Continental once again.
Can't hide money, Scott. so there's a bit of a backstory to it. So I've got two sons, men, but still my laddies, and we always promised we'd do it together. But it's quite hard. My oldest boy lives in Bristol, clever laddie and doing very well, so he doesn't make them too often. And Jamie, my other boy, lives up in Perth and has a busy, difficult job. So all of the things meant that Hibs in Europe was always going to be a must, but not with my boys together. I have a third son who's my brother's boy. He's one of the Hibs Block 7 Ultras, and so he's at every game with me. He's equivalent to your Green Brigade, but he's a passionate Hibs fan, and was going to be a Celtic fan until his Uncle Mark talked him out of it. So going over to Andorra, it was a must, because what other reason would you go to Andorra unless you can ski?
Exactly, aye.
And we then made a trip
to walk down the main street.
Aye, and it's brilliant. It's good. It's a great place, cheap as anything, good place. It's like being in a good bit of Republican Spain. It's Catalan. It's all the things that resonate with me. And so we went. My brother Nick come along. He doesn't go to the football. He watches us on the telly, but couldn't miss a European trip. His laddie come, and he said he had to come. And my youngest boy Jamie come. It was his birthday the day of the game. Think about that, Ian. And one of my great pals, George, come too, who fought him, and I went to Spain, and then subsequently Andorra, and then all the other trips together. So we had a great adventure around Europe. Spoiled only by one thing.
The game.
No, trying pig's ears for the second time in my life.
Trying pig's ears? Nah, nice,
So we went to watch Hibs, it was shite, right? And Hibs, we took a good support. We had about 500 over there. And the young laddies were, the vast majority of them, for all the criticism, it was then that went, and good kids. It wasn't an easy place to get to. It cost a fortune. We flew to Carcassonne in France and hired a car and drove down, and we stayed in Carcassonne on the way back. Again, I would know what to do, being older, going to a tourist thing, and it was nice. But the young laddies, like, mental what they done to get there, and I did feel sorry for them when they were all shouting and all that. That must be frustrating. I've watched Hibs for 45 years, 48 years. I've seen it all. So you're like, oh, for fuck's sake. And I didn't clap them off, but we did have pig's ears, cow's tongue, calf's tongue, rabbit's feet, and some other thing, because we decided we were going to go for it. And what a laugh we had. We drank all night, ate like kings, and the whole bill was €200 for 7 of us.
Wow. That's all right, right?
Andorra's all right. However, the next morning, right, I couldn't drive back to France. I was still pissed. I ended up in the only nightclub in Andorra that's open in the summertime with the young Hibs dafties, right? And they're all clinging on to me with my pal George. He's 67, I'm 57. And all these youngsters singing Hibs songs on the karaoke and all kinds of I got poured out the door. My nephew was getting lifted at that point. Jeez. So I had to grab him and take him away to the post, speaking my best schoolboy pished Spanish, and get him back up. He get lifted for being sick in the street.
Do it. Young boys.
Who are we to say, they are the guff of my loins or whatever they say, that was just my nephew, and Uncle Mark. Brother Nick drove home because he'd sensibly went to his bed after the 10 pints and 4 bottles of wine with notwithstanding that, we got beat, and Lee Johnston was finished. Everything else he'd done after that didn't matter. Right, he was finished. So coming back to Sword and pumping them was a given. They'd been working in butchers and a joiner and a plumber and everything. It was guys like having fun. There was more Hibs fans at the game than their fans. I mean, they're from a wee. They're not even from the big town. They're from a wee town, but Luzerne was a absolute major challenge. I mean, that's coming up against, I would say, the equivalent of Aberdeen or Hearts or somebody like that. Big team, big support. A beautiful place. We obviously getting a result at Easter Road was quite a big surprise, but that was streaky all over. Go beat them the way we did after no looking that good in the pre-season, and then and to get a result over there was mental. Hibs took a massive support. Beautiful place, great time. I've never been anywhere in my puff that expensive. And I was
going to say, going for Andorra and you're not doing that in Luzerne, no chance.
No, well, I've worked in Singapore, and it was dearer than Singapore. I'm clever though. I've travelled all over the world. So me and my pal, we worked out that actually the Co-op restaurant, Co-op Cafe was the best place to go. That's where we ate, and it was all right. It was some dear, but it was all right. We were in there, and we were only Hibs fans at the first. Anyway, but great result, and their streaky saved his bacon again. Excuse the pun. And then we knew we were getting Villa, and we knew we were getting a hiding. But the home result finished it.
Yeah,
because he tried to take them on, and let's be honest, it's like when we play you might get a result, right? But in a one-off, don't try, don't be stupid. Aston Villa were toying with us. John McGinn, much as I love John, and he's a son of Hibs, even though we know he's a Celtic fan and played for something and all that stuff, but he's like my fourth son. John didn't even know try. He was like, fuck, I'm here to play for Aston Villa, and he just toyed with us. The away game was good. It was good. Okay, we could beat 3-0, but I don't think, being an Evertonian, I don't think losing 3-0 at Aston Villa is any shame. Villa are actually quite good. And Hibs might have got a goal. The Hibs support was brilliant. All in, it made my season already, because watching Hibs in Europe is the best it gets. It's what you go for, and as a Hibs fan going to Europe, you see the real guys. you might not be your pals, but they're the real Hibs fans. And you know, folks say, oh, you're rich and that. You're not rich. You're spending your savings. You're spending your pension money. You're spending money you've not really got. You know how much holidays I've got till the end of the year? One day.
How much?
But I tell you, I wouldn't have it any other way. Sean Moldis boy came to Villa with me. That was brilliant with a night out. Found a pub that would do as a lock-in, and that's what you date for, you know. It's and I know Celtic fans, you might get a bit weary of it. I know you're playing Atletico Madrid this week, and it's like, oh, we're playing Atletico Madrid. To a Hibs fan playing Luzerne or Aston Villa, it's like, oh.
No, to be honest, Mark, it doesn't get to that stage that you start kind of dismissing it. We're in the point that the Champions League's there for us, and get in and get your team skated. No fucking, it's no enjoyable. It's just no.
It's not, but there's a difference because we go expecting to get beat, and you get a result.
I mean, the Aston Villa game though, the first one, I thought the goal, as much as you said, Aston Villa, that boy Emery's a great manager, and you saw the comparison. The comparison to the team, exactly. But I thought the goals were just too easy. Fucking headers, know what I mean? You're like, it was.
So if Brendan Rodgers was any kind of manager, he'd be watching games like that where a good team plays Hibs, right? Not giving you any clues there, Brendan. But because it just showed us up for what we are. We can't defend well. We don't defend well. If you let Hibs attack you, which is St Mirren, Dundee, Hearts, whatever, you know, the shiter teams, like we're good because we can attack and we play nice football, but we can't defend. We need 2 new defenders, at least, maybe 3. Right, and I'm hoping there's some great guys in Australia want to come back and live in Britain, or want to move to Britain and double their salaries or something, you know, because that's what you're hoping for, because that's where we're weakest. And again, we'll touch on it with Nick Montgomery coming, but tactically we're still ever so slightly naive. Good to watch while you're winning.
That's exactly right. So in the League Cup, 2-1 win over Wraith Rovers. That was then matched by a great 4-2 win over St Mirren, both at home, and that sets you up for a lovely wee date at Hampden on the 4th of November, where you will be playing Aberdeen. League-wise, a shit start to the season. A 3-2 defeat by St Mirren. That last-minute goal after coming back for 2-0 down must have been sore. Next up,
they were good. Just to see, Scott, they were good. So no,
they were good that day. Next up, a 2-1 defeat by Motherwell, and that was followed by another 3-2 home defeat, this time by Livingston, and that was it for Lee Johnston, departed the club, and David Gray once again stepped in for the next game, a 2-0 win over Aberdeen. On the 11th of September, Hibs appointed Leeds-born former Scotland under-21 international cap Nick Montgomery from his current club, Central Coast Mariners. His first game was a 2-2 away draw with Kelly, dropping your own 2-goal lead. Then it was home again for the next 2 games, a 2-0 win over St Johnstone, and then a 0-0 draw with Dundee. Next up was the derby, 2-0 down by the 58th minute, looking piss. And then Hibs rallied. Johan grabbed his 5th and 6th goals of the season as he came back to grab a point. Now, for the highlights I've watched, that derby game could have, after it went 2-2, it could have went anyway. I mean,
we should have won it. We should have won it, but they were all over us. Work that one out.
It was mad to see. Streaky again. So some of the stuff I've watched the Hibs, like I say, that Luzerne game at home, I watched that and I'm going, brilliant. What? And you're telling me that the League Cup match against St Mirren, and then some of the other stuff I've watched, garbage, man. But defensively, you're all over the place.
It's a defence, and the summary of that is, and what you didn't see there, but it's important. Until we lost at the weekend, we were unbeaten from when we beat Aberdeen.
Yeah.
And you start to see shoots of recovery. Not sure, because how do you recover a defence we've not got enough about it, and so Hibs always have to get a couple to get a result, right? And I think that's going to be so until the manager's allowed to bring in a couple of guys that he knows or trusts, and so we've got to kind of suck it up till Christmas. So start the season before the league season started, Dafty Johnson come out with more comments about we couldn't have got a better draw because we don't have to play Hearts, Celtic, and Rangers until October. But then we could get maximum points on the board, and then we progressed to be humiliated by an excellent St Mirren team. I think everybody that's watched the football this season would say St Mirren have been great and very, if Robinson wasn't such a individual, you'd have him at your and Hibs fans felt like that when we were talking about McInnes, Robinson, or someone else. It's what baggage they bring, but his football's good, and they were good, and even going to Tynecastle, that was quite satisfying. Came out, felt like we'd won. Because we scored 2 goals in quick succession. We looked like we were down and out, and we got there. I think our new manager's there's some progress. He's come, he's brought some identity to Hibs. It's very uncomfortable, and you'll see it in Saturday's because you sit shite in it, right? Because he's brought the thing. I think Celtic played it more under Ange, and you're playing it just now, but this building for the back and the rolling and confidence and defenders to play it to a midfielder, to play it to an attacking midfielder, to bring in a winger up. It's all brilliant on a bit of paper, but when you know the ability of the players that play for your team, you're like, oh, for fuck's sake, Marshall's going to boot it out or pass it to an opposition player. But he's stuck with it, even at Ibrox. Wouldn't it be me? But then I'm not a football manager, but I can see what he's trying to do. He's building an Ajax culture of you play the same football for the under-12s right through the first team. And I believe that's exactly what happened today at Sunderland. Have set up that same way. The rigid, didn't boot it up the pitch, pass it to a full-back, pass it to a centre-half to defensive midfielder, turn, beat the man, play the ball forward. So, it's that Lee Johnston thing, isn't it? Trust them. Hope they've got it right.
You've got to, aye.
I
don't know,
a jaded Hibs fan, sometimes it's like, for fuck's sake, Denny. Just try and do something. See when at the weekend Rangers work to suit, right? And good managers work you. They sit and watch your videos and say, right, there's Hibs play. That's what they do. Watch him, stop him playing. Rangers done that. They stopped our midfield playing. Jago and Newell have been brilliant for us. Brilliant. Same 2 players have played for Hibs for ages. But all of a sudden, they're given responsibility and it was really working for Hibs. And Rangers nullified them. Boom. Because they've got good football players. You say what you want about Rangers. 7 players in their team are good players. And they stopped us playing. And it stopped Hibs in 7 or 8 other ways because then Fish isn't confident because he doesn't want to give it.
You don't want to put people under pressure, and then
and watching us, I can see what the managers want to do. There's maybe a bit of naivety that you might be able to do that in Australia, but you're not able to do it in Scotland. But then, how dare I say that? Because look at the managers that just brought you your last couple of seasons of.
I don't know. I mean, the Rangers one, like I say, I watched until they scored their second, and it was game half. I don't think Rangers were particularly great, but like you say,
that's the worst thing. Get beat 4-0 by a team that's so very good.
They were just all right, but you could see you were unfortunate that they flung that manager straight in for you turning up, because had that been the other guy,
We'd have beat them. We'd have beat them. They just scored a goal and held out. That's what Hibs are quite good at. But
you've come up against that new manager bounce as well. And as you said, I think for everything I've read and know about this guy, it's a decent manager. You know what I mean? So I think you just take that one, you stick it away.
They're chucking a wee pun about how the Orangemen have signed somebody called Clementine.
No, I know.
It could only be so, and he looks like Lurch. Did you? I don't know if you picked up on something that actually affected the game, because right away you knew you had no chance. The Rangers defender cleared it and it didn't go out, and he kept the ball in. And McInnes the week previous, 2 weeks before, he get a booking, and that meant he got sent off for it.
Yeah.
The referee played on and gave Rangers a foul. Nobody talked about it. It gave Rangers a throw in. The guy had kept it on the pitch. The manager leaned over. Only Montgomery. So there you are. See, it doesn't come out. It doesn't. These things aren't talked about. And it actually, for me, it was like, we've got no chance today. Because that ball went out. It was so obvious it went out. He stayed in and he kept the ball in and played. It's like, what are you doing? Get off the pitch, you.
Much was your brief?
Quite a lot. £36. Well, more importantly, for under 16s, which my nephew is, was £27.
Really?
For a kid? Because they know all the young dafties go, so they make their money. Because going to Ibrox, most Hibs fans choose not to go. Well, most Hibs fans choose not to go, but what you get is the next generation coming and say, well,
because they can get tickets, they'll go. Aye, that's it.
We normally sell out Ibrox, like as soon as it goes up for 940 or something, we get, and it sells out pretty much because we've got 500 away season ticket holders at Hibs. I get first dibs, but a lot of guys don't go there. Simple. You just didn't go. But the youngsters...
The weekend there, you intimated it earlier on, a wee bit of shite for your own supporters.
Well, of course, there was a load of shite for their fans, but that's not talked about. And just for the record, I resigned my membership of the SNP over this one. I told them to go and fuck themselves because they came out and made a statement about Hibs fans for their behaviour when, in fact, nobody mentioned their usual songs that they sung to us before, during and after. And every time since in the booing, I mentioned earlier in the recording about Ron Gordon stuff, didn't make the press. Well, I'm no one for whataboutery because what the Hibs fans, the young couple of Hibs fans done, they vandalised the seats at Ibrox and done some stuff about the Ibrox disaster, which is appalling, disgusting, and is no about what my football team or any football fan should be about. But it kind of misses the point a wee bit because, you know, you didn't condone just a group of arseholes, condone them all. And for me, the First Minister coming out and criticising Hibs about behaviour of a couple of wee fannies when they were singing Derry's Walls and the Billy Boys at Ibrox to us, pointing at us, calling me a Fenian and a Tarrier. Well, get your own house in order as well, because until the society changes, none of us really need to be pointing fingers because it's...
100%.
I'm not condoning the Hibs fans, by the way. I'm not condoning them. Whoever done that, I'd fucking boot their arse if I seen that. There's didn't take any pleasure about guys going to the football or women going to the football and dying. That's just shite, irrespective of what team you support. You shouldn't do that. I'm an Evertonian, and you know my thoughts on what happened with the Liverpool fans, and you know, just didn't. However, fuck's sake, you know, if ever there was to be preached about, and we got it. I got the full thing for guys in front of me walking out. I got out the door because when the Rangers scored their fourth, I left. I don't often leave, but I left because I don't want to see my team humiliated, and grabbed my nephew and his pal in with the ultras. No with the vandalising bit at the other bit. Told him, I said, we're going away. And the police said, actually, I'm closing the door. I said, go and just let us out. Go back to the car park. I'm going back to the car park. 12 minutes to go. It's fully Rangers fans everywhere, right? 12 minutes to go. But I've got a green jacket on and I have no fear. I don't care about them. And they were giving it this and giving it that, and I gave it back because you do. And I was called everything. Police are standing there. I was a Tarrier, I was a Fenian, I was a fucking this, I was a fucking that. I gave it back. I didn't resort to sectarianism or racism because I don't need to. I'm smarter than that. But they fuckers need to get their house in order. And Hibs need to deal with the young... I believe the young boy that done it has been banned already.
Right, okay.
Because Grassy's put it on the internet and picked his face out and, you know, didn't point to their pal standing beside him. So I didn't get me started on them, but it's fair to say my dislike of that football team has not changed, and I'm ashamed of what the Hibs laddies done because there's fucking they need their little IRA on the seats and that. What are you doing? You buy a ticket, they give you a seat with a number on it. You didn't write on it. You know,
the thing, Matt. The thing is, right, we've all been young guys and we've all done things, right? And just as you say, we're not condoning it. But see, young guys can learn. Their experience will take them to better places. And stuff like this, getting their ass fit. I mean, I've sang shitty songs at the football. I've fucking said some shitty.
Me too.
I
Me
get
too.
it, but
banning somebody for life for it now and being threatened by others, because of the ability of the internet to track you down. And
there's no justification, but we educate people. We don't fucking penalise people, and we don't ruin their fucking futures with it. And these grasses, aye. But the thing is, it's hard to get lectured off of somebody, and I'm including Rangers fans, and I'm including people I know who are adults, older than me, want to stand and call people pedos to their faces, and you're like, are you serious? Are you serious, man?
I think it's a societal thing, and this isn't for this conversation.
You're right. Yeah.
The good thing on Saturday is like we didn't have any of that really.
Yep.
We all walked down the street together. We have a pint together. We're no brothers. Scott, I'm no your brother. I'm a Hibs fan. You're a Celtic fan. But we're grown-ups that know how to behave, and hopefully, even the respective ultras have a bit of mutual respect for one another. You know what I mean? Because battering the shite at each other and abuse and dragging it down, there's no need. And if any Rangers fans are listening, as an older Hibs fan, and as Scott said, I've thought and said things about your club over the years, but I did think what happened on Saturday crossed a big line, and you didn't do that. That's well out of order. Just for the record, I didn't like that. But but those people that live in glass houses and all that stuff.
Yeah, that's it. Right, so the game Saturday, 3:00 on a Saturday. Wow. Hey. Wow. Fantastic. Eh? So we played 4 times last season.
Let's talk about the last one. The other ones are not important.
Right. Well, to be honest, now that there's a new manager at both clubs, I don't think neither one of them are really, any of them are really relevant. We just go through, right? So that first one at Celtic Park, 6-1. Then we beat you 4-0 at your Midden. 3-1 at our Midden in March. St. Paddy's weekend, and then, like you said, the 4-2 game, second last game of the season at Easter Road. Am I right in thinking we were 2-2 before Maeda gets sent off? And then
at that point, I've never seen anything like that, Scott. Why did he was looking to get sent off?
Just trying to get it was a disappointing day, but like you say, the animosity, it kind of helped you guys maybe, because at that point we were kind of hoping you would put Hearts to that place. Do you know what I mean? Just jump up there.
The only person that stopped that was the 11 Hibs players at the derby at Tynecastle 2 weeks later, to be honest with you, because that's what we were hoping to. We didn't go and play you. I don't know if you were there, Scott, but I met you and Jason and that before the game, and we would never have predicted a 4-2 result for Hibs. So. You wouldn't have, would you? But notwithstanding that, it was an interesting one. And once again, Streaky done that thing where he gets a great result. Give the guy a chance. That's just the end of the season. We're nearly there. Maybe we'll bring in some good players. And
as I say, I mean, the other 3 results are pretty comprehensive with Celtic, and then you've got that result. You've got that result there. But I don't think they're really relevant. So we look at this season. So your man Johnson was setting up at 4-1, 4-1, 4-4-2. He tried a 3-5-2, and he was all in the shop. So since he's away, am I right in thinking the first game was that Kilmarnock game I said, wasn't it? And Montgomery.
No, the first game was actually Aberdeen.
Did David Gray not do that one?
He done that one. So you mean who?
Montgomery's first game. So Montgomery's first game. And he's set up in a 4-4-2 in each game. Now, with that in mind, and then just your own opinions, how do you see Hibs doing this weekend? Bearing in mind, you've just told me you went to iBooks and you went for it. Is it a case of you're going to go for it again? If so, who's lining up? In your opinion.
So in my opinion, 2 things. Hibs don't play 4-4-2. Hibs play 4-2-4.
Right, okay, there you go. Jeez.
The reason we do that is because he likes 2 strikers and he likes 2 wingers. So Martin Boyle and Ellie Yuan are the wingers you pick. Unfortunately, neither of them know how to track back, want to track back, and they did know what to do. So it leaves the two-man midfield, Jago and Newell, who I've mentioned before, as being superb, but it gives them an awful lot of work to do. So I think, how will we do at the weekend? If he picks the 4-2-4 that he picks, Celtic will win 6-2, 7-2.
Right, okay.
Right, because we can't defend, but we can attack and we'll score goals. But you've got a good defence, the young boy who's been brilliant for you, and all these things come together, and he'll suck up the fact that Venta and Le Fondre or even Deutsch coming on. I can't see how we'd break down the kind of quality of player that Celtic have got. Being honest, I'm not praising you, by the way. It's just I watched a bit of you against Hearts.
There's going to be a bit of realism in these chats, mate, isn't it?
That's a good team you've got once again, and your manager's now found his feet and he can see what he's trying to do. It's a wee bit different from last year, but it's like, oh, for fuck's sake, I'm a Hibs fan. What we're going to do. However, if he were to, Nick Montgomery, who I like, and he's a good guy, and he has created an identity. He's got the Hibs fans behind him. We've sold a lot of tickets for Hampden. We're back on board again. I filled 4 buses. The bus, I date with my pal, and we take 1 or 2 buses. We've got 4, and we could add more, but we capped it at that. So that shows you the guys are willing to come back, and it's a lot of money watching football at Hampden. No, the user in it right enough. Had to get that one in. But notwithstanding that, I think he would go up against Celtic after playing Rangers and hopefully have a wee think about it. Because we're actually got good players that are not getting a game. Dylan Levitt doesn't get a game.
I was going to mention him, yeah.
And he's such a good football player. But what he does is a like-for-like swap and keeps the shape. And for me, Hibs fans will argue me, oh, you always say that. I do the match report and it's all loved and everybody. But the most critique I get is around my insistence we play 4-2-4, and folks say, no, a 4-4-2 is a 4-4-2. It doesn't matter. I say, no, because it depends on the players, the personnel. So if I think we go against you 4-2-4, Brendan Rodgers will look and go 6-3 or 4 in midfield, we'll pump them. That's what he'll do, because our manager says it's the Hibs way and the other teams have to counter us. I kind of like that, but I think that's for the other teams in the league. It's no for Rangers, it's no for Celtic, right? It potentially is for Aberdeen and Hearts, who are equals, but you guys have got players that are going to do things that we can't counter. So if I was going to do it, I would put Levitt into the midfield and drop either one of the wingers or one of the attackers, right? And play a slightly different way. But I'm not a football manager, I'm a Hibs fan, right? But if I was going to do it, I think we might then cope with Celtic's midfield, because you've got a team that's, I don't know how you describe it, fluid. They move about. You watch, it's like, who the fuck, where's he playing? And that's a sign of good players, isn't it? And I worry at the weekend that we take a tanking, right? I don't like Hibs losing at home, right? I can take a 1-0 because we've fought hard. We beat you last time we played you Easter Road, so we know there's, and that's most of the same team, which is quite interesting. Your team's not really changed that much, and as I said, my Ada that last time when we did beat you, wouldn't have got beat that day if I didn't beat them. On a day, So it's those kind of unusual circumstances that might get a result.
100%,
But what's interesting is that I know Hearts talk about how big their attendances are and all that, but there's a good crowd coming in Saturday. Hibs have bought, we've sold a lot of tickets. It's not a sellout. It's never a sellout unless something special's happening, and we're not quite there yet. I think after Christmas, and the manager does it right, we might start to get not a full house by any matter of means, but at the moment, I'm quite nervous that it might not turn out to be a particularly good day. And the fact that Jason's not invited me along for a drink is actually quite good, because I didn't really want to come and join you if you're celebrating. Just kidding. I'm just checking if he's watching this.
Yeah, I'll be clipping it for him anyway. Right, we're on the home straight here, Marky, right? So just tell me, just to kind of finish off this chat, and I'm going to come back to something that we spoke about offline, but what's your hopes for the season going ahead now? Third and get that League Cup?
Third.
Right, okay. Fair dues.
So, the League Cup, the challenge we've got in the League Cup is having lost the Rangers at the weekend. It'll potentially be them in the final if we beat Aberdeen. And we've carried quite a lot of luck in the cups against Rangers. And so are you going to get another one? There's got to be a time where you're coming home scunnered. And, I know. But you equally hope Aberdeen beat them. So, it's not a big, Aberdeen are on the up. We're kind of a wee crescendo at the moment. So
see where it's going to go. But no, I mean, obviously, I would rather, if I had my choice right now, I would rather Glasgow was descended by fucking both sides of Edinburgh and they don't even get to the final. That would suit me a lot better. Right, I know it doesn't suit you, mate, but after watching them at the weekend, there's no danger they'll beat Rangers.
I know, but it's not the pain of playing them, it's the pain of losing to them. You know what I mean?
I remember.
Never ending with a Willie measuring and we're the bigger team and we're this and we're that. It's like, so, and we never, Hibs just didn't do it. And like, we could play Rangers and beat them, we could play Celtic and beat them at Hampden. We didn't play Hearts and beat them. And so I didn't want that stress, honest. It's not a fun day out. So I hope we get to the final, and if we beat Rangers, brilliant. But if I take third over both, because third means Europe and it means big money for Hibs, and that's what matters.
Of course. Fair dues, mate. Brilliant. Just one last wee thing, just to finish this up before we go. So obviously, Celtic have been commented on about their fans have decided that their Palestinian views and the whole thing that's happened over by, and there was a lot of displays again and the game at Tynecastle at the weekend, but noticeably yourselves had a couple of flags at the weekend, Palestine flags, and I was just what is the general thinking within the support? Even I know you can't speak for the whole support, but
I can only speak for me and what I read on the bounce. I would say it's about 50-50 at Hibs. I think what Celtic have a little bit different is that big link that other clubs don't have in Scotland. But I would say Hibs are the only team that you might find are in agreement with much of it. But it shouldn't be a football thing. It's about people's lives and the whole thing's abhorrent, let's be honest, but it's been abhorrent for a long time. On a personal basis, I'm happy to say that I actively support Palestine, and it's right for the people of Palestine to fight back. I don't agree with Hamas and anything that they've done. They're just another murderous bunch of scumbags. But the retribution put on poor people is obscene. And I think actually the population of Scotland probably think that as well. I mean, I did see some of the flags at other clubs as well, and it's an awkward one because it becomes a flag debate, doesn't it? We played on Saturday. There's a couple of Palestine flags in the Hibs end which no one criticised. There's no comment against them because that wouldn't happen. There was Israel flags in the Rangers end. I mean, what the fuck? What are we doing? So for me. Murder of innocence is obscene, simple stuff, and people are entitled to fight back and push back. I personally am, like many Celtic fans, have an empathy and sympathy with the people of Palestine, and I'd like to think many Hibs fans think the same as me. So when Celtic fans are talking about it, don't forget there's loads of us. It's not just about a football team. It's about a political opinion. It's about the right of man and your right to fight back, spoiled by murderous fuckers all over the world who sometimes I feel like Scott folk enjoy it.
Yeah.
It's obscene. And a week ago I'd have been even more passionate about it, but we're on a hiding to nothing living in this country. Because of I mean, Britain, the British Isles, because others speak in our behalf.
Our media stinks.
our media stinks, but I think it's dreadful, and I've done my thing to help, and I'm sure many of you have, and I know many Hibs fans feel the very same about what's going on.
Really interesting.
Well, I think it's good, Scott, because there is a bit of a thing, and I remember Hibs playing Celtic at Parkhead last year. I think that the tanking, when the song "If You Hate the Fucking Tories, Clap Your Hands" started with the Celtic end, but continued by the Hibs fans for quite a bit, because it's not just one group. There's a lot of us that feel the same. There's a whole group of us that Parker religious things that we're brought up with or anything like that. It's not about that. It's about what's good and bad, and it's horrific at the moment. I feel quite strongly about it, and I have to be careful because I have another life outside of this and all the arseholes that follow these things.
Of course, right. So we'll finish it there, mate. I'll straight away thank you for taking your time, because we've done a fair bit tonight, and we've spoken about it, and we've done loads of tangents. But once again, I've thoroughly enjoyed it. I really enjoy talking to you. Thank you very much. I really do wish your season all the best after Saturday. But thanks again, Marky boy.
My pleasure. See you, Scott. Take care. See you all. Bye.